November 20th, 1992. A spotlight ignites a curtain in Windsor Castle's private chapel. Within minutes, flames race through hidden medieval roof voids. Invisible chimneys built by 14th century engineers. St. George's Hall, 900 years of history, burns. 100 rooms destroyed. The fire spreads faster than men can run. But this is not the first time Windsor has faced destruction. 9 centuries earlier, conquered Anglo-Saxons moved earth with wooden shovels, building an artificial mountain to hold a wooden tower that would rot within decades. A century after that, engineers gambled on placing thousands of tons of stone atop compressed dirt. Kings conscripted entire counties of craftsmen. Armies besieged its walls. Victorian architects gutted medieval interiors and hid industrial iron inside ancient stone. Windsor Castle survived not through perfect design, but through relentless transformation. Every generation tore it down and built it back. From muddy hill fort to Gothic palace, to romantic fantasy to modern phoenix. This is how you engineer a fortress to outlast empires. 1070s. William the Conqueror controls England, but control means nothing without visible power. He needs fortresses, not eventually. Now. Stone takes years, skilled masons are scarce, money is limited. William chooses speed over permanence. He orders the construction of a motte and bailey castle, medieval flat-pack architecture, brutal in its simplicity. The site, a chalk ridge above the River Thames, 20 miles west of London. Strategic perfection. High ground commands the river. The location sits 1 day's march from the Tower of London, part of William's ring of fortresses choking the capital. The workforce. Conquered Anglo-Saxons. Hundreds of them. No wages. No choice. Royal soldiers supervise with weapons. The men arrive with wooden shovels, wicker baskets, and iron-tipped picks. First, they dig. A massive circular ditch carved into chalk and clay, 40 feet wide, 15 feet deep. The excavated material doesn't leave the site. Every shovelful becomes the fortress itself. Workers pile earth, chalk, and gravel in the center. They compact each layer by foot, by weight, by repetition. The mound rises. 10 feet, 20 feet, 50 feet. The motte takes shape, an artificial hill with steep sides and a flat top 50 yards across. This is engineering through mass and geometry. The steeper the sides, the harder to climb. The higher the summit, the better the view. No complex mathematics, no innovative materials. Just earth moved by human muscle, tons per day, shaped into dominance. Around the base, workers construct the bailey, a large courtyard enclosed by a wooden palisade. They cut trees from Windsor Forest, strip the branches, sharpen the ends. The logs are driven into the earth side by side, creating a wooden wall. Defensive, temporary, sufficient. On top of the motte, carpenters erect a wooden tower, timber frame, plank walls, a lookout post and final, refuge. If attackers breach the bailey, defenders retreat up the steep motte slope to the tower. Simple, effective, temporary. The entire fortress rises in months, not years. It projects William's power across the Thames Valley immediately. Wood will rot, timber will burn. Within a generation, repairs will be constant. But William doesn't need forever. He needs now. And now, he has Windsor. 1170s. A century has passed. The wooden tower has rotted and been replaced twice. The palisade logs have been shored up, patched, rebuilt. England is no longer freshly conquered. King Henry II rules an empire stretching from Scotland to the Pyrenees. Henry looks at Windsor and sees obsolescence. Wood announces temporary occupation. Stone declares permanence. He orders the transformation. The challenge is immediate and unprecedented. Stone weighs exponentially more than timber. A wooden tower on the motte weighed tons. A stone shell keep will weigh thousands of tons. The motte beneath is not bedrock. It is compressed earth, chalk and gravel, materials that shift, settle, and fail under concentrated loads. Henry's engineers faced the central problem. How do you anchor stone fortification to artificial ground without catastrophic collapse? They begin with investigation. Workers excavate test shafts into the motte, probing its composition and stability. They discover layers, some compacted hard over a century of settlement, others still soft. The original Norman builders created a geometric mound, but not an engineered foundation. The solution requires innovation within medieval limitations. First, the engineers drive wooden piles deep into the motte. These are not simple stakes. They are massive timbers, sharpened and hammered down through the earth layers until they strike firmer ground beneath, the original chalk ridge William's builders started from. The piles create a skeleton within the artificial hill, distributing weight downward to stable geology rather than relying on compressed fill. Second, they construct a stone foundation platform on top of the motte. This is not a solid mass. It is a carefully designed ring of thick stone walls filled with rubble and mortar, creating a wide base that spreads the tower's weight across the entire motte summit rather than concentrating it in one spot. The platform acts as an enormous stone distributor. Only then do the walls rise. The new round tower is not solid stone. It is a shell keep, a circular stone wall 30 feet high, 12 feet thick at the base, tapering slightly upward. Inside the wall, buildings are constructed from timber and lighter stone. The defensive perimeter is stone. The interior remains flexible. Simultaneously, Henry's masons replace the bailey's wooden palisade with a stone curtain wall. Workers dig foundation trenches down to bedrock or firm subsoil. They fill the trenches with rubble and lime mortar, creating a solid base for walls that will rise 25 feet high and 10 feet thick. The stone comes from local quarries, bag-shot heath stone, a workable sandstone that cuts cleanly and weathers well. Oxen haul the blocks to the site. Masons shape each stone with chisels and mallets, creating tight joints that require minimal mortar. Lime mortar is mixed on site from chalk burned in temporary kilns, producing quicklime that is slaked with water and mixed with sand. The workforce shifts from unskilled earth movers to specialized craftsmen, quarrymen, stonemasons, mortar mixers, scaffolding builders, carpenters for the wooden cranes and hoists lifting stones into place, laborers hauling materials, mixing mortar, clearing rubble. The construction consumes years, not months. Stone does not yield to urgency. Each block must be cut, fitted, and set. Each section of wall must cure before the next course is added. Weather halts work. Winter freezes mortar. Rain delays quarrying. But stone endures. By the end of Henry's reign, Windsor is no longer a wooden fort on a hill. It is a stone fortress with a permanent footprint, a circular keep on the motte, stone walls enclosing 2 baileys, gatehouse towers controlling access. The castle William built for speed has become the castle Henry built for centuries. The transformation establishes Windsor's fundamental architecture. Every future expansion, every royal addition, every restoration will build upon Henry's stone skeleton. The wooden fort announced conquest. The stone fortress declares dynasty. 1350s. Edward III returns from France with plunder, prisoners, and a vision. He has crushed the French at Crécy and captured their king at Poitiers. He commands the most formidable military in Europe. His treasury overflows with ransom gold. He looks at Windsor and sees insufficiency. The castle is functional, defensible, entirely inadequate for a king who styles himself heir to King Arthur. Edward orders a rebuilding that will consume £51,000, more than the annual revenue of the English crown. In modern terms, billions. It will become one of the most expensive secular building projects in medieval European history. He does not ask for volunteers. Royal writs issue from Westminster to every county in England. Each document carries the same command: send your best stonemasons, carpenters, glaziers, and craftsmen to Windsor, immediately. Refusal means imprisonment. This is impressment, forced conscription of skilled labour under royal prerogative. Sheriffs identify master, craftsmen by reputation and record. Men are pulled from cathedral projects, manor construction, town guilds. They abandon commissions mid-contract. Their wages at Windsor are fixed by royal decree, not negotiation. Market rates become irrelevant when the king commands. The workforce assembles. At peak construction, over 800 craftsmen and labourers work simultaneously. They require food, shelter, tools, materials, and supervision. Windsor becomes a construction city. Then the Black Death arrives. The plague strikes England in 1348, killing between 1/3 and 1/2 of the population within 2 years. Villages empty. Skilled craftsmen die. The labour pool collapses. Edward does not stop building. Wages spike as surviving workers recognise their sudden leverage. A mason who earned 3d per day in 1340 demands 6d by 1350. The Statute of Labourers attempts to freeze wages at pre-plague levels. It fails. Edward pays the new rates. The project cost soars, but the work continues. The construction focuses on 2 monumental undertakings. First, St. George's Chapel. This will be the spiritual heart of Edward's new chivalric order, the Order of the Garter, his answer to Arthurian legend. The chapel requires advanced Gothic engineering. Stonemasons construct soaring pointed arches that transfer weight downward and outward. Flying buttresses channel lateral thrust to external supports. Rib vaults span the ceiling, creating a stone canopy that appears to float. The windows demand precision. Perpendicular Gothic style emphasizes vertical lines and massive glass panels. Glaziers install stained glass in iron frames. Each window requires careful calculation. Too large and wind pressure shatters the glass. Too small, and the Gothic aesthetic fails. The masons carve stone tracery to support the glass while maintaining the illusion of lightness. Second, the upper ward transformation. Edward demolishes the disorganized medieval buildings cluttering the bailey and replaces them with a symmetrical courtyard palace. The new royal apartments rise 3 stories, faced in ashlar, smooth-cut stone blocks that present a uniform surface. This is architecture as statement. The irregular fortress becomes geometric palace. The construction logistics are staggering. Stone arrives from quarries at Tottenham and Reigate. Timber comes from royal forests. Lead for roofing is shipped from Derbyshire mines. Glass comes from specialised workshops. Every material requires transport by ox cart or river barge, then hoisting into position. Wooden scaffolding climbs the walls. Workers ascend ladders with hods of mortar and stone. Cranes powered by tread wheels, large wheels in which men walk, turning gears that lift loads, hoist dressed stone blocks. A single capital for a column may take a master mason weeks to carve. Installation takes minutes. One mistake means starting over. The project outlasts the plague, outlasts workers who die or flee, outlasts budget projections. Edward continues. His successor continues. The work spans decades. What emerges is not a medieval fortress. It is a palace fortress, a hybrid structure where military architecture frames royal theatre. The walls remain thick. The towers remain defensible. But the interior spaces proclaim culture, wealth, and chivalric fantasy. Edward creates Windsor as a stage. The Order of the Garter Knights process through St. George's Hall. Foreign dignitaries witness Gothic splendour funded by French ransoms. The castle that began as packed earth and timber becomes a political instrument built from stone and stained glass. The workforce that built it, pressed into service, ravaged by plague, paid in inflated wages, leaves no names in the records. The castle records costs, not craftsmen. The architecture survives. The builders do not. But their work establishes Windsor's identity. No longer merely a fortress, now a symbol. Edward's ambition, rendered permanent in stone, defines what Windsor means for the next 6 centuries. Castles built only for war become ruins when war moves on. Windsor survives because it refuses to remain static. 15th century. Henry VIII adds the main gatehouse, still thinking in defensive terms, still building for siege. But his daughter Elizabeth makes the first break. She constructs the North Terrace in 1576. Not a rampart, not a fighting platform, a promenade. A place to walk and enjoy views across the Thames Valley. This is the pivot. Defense becomes secondary to comfort. The fortress begins its transformation into residence. The English Civil War interrupts. Parliamentary forces occupy Windsor. The castle becomes prison, barracks, and headquarters. Royalist captives fill the towers. The medieval halls serve soldiers, not courtiers. When Charles II reclaims the throne in 1660, he finds a scarred, grim fortress that reeks of military occupation. He wants Versailles. Charles hires architect Hugh May to remake the state. Apartments. The directive: create Baroque magnificence inside medieval stone. May guts the interiors. Walls that survived. Edward III's builders fall to Charles's renovators. Masons smash through thick stone to install floor-to-ceiling windows. Carpenters construct grand staircases where cramped spiral stairs once climbed. Plasterers cover stone vaults with ornate ceilings. The transformation is surgical. The exterior curtain walls remain untouched, still medieval, still defensible in theory. But inside, Antonio Verrio paints sprawling ceiling frescoes of classical gods. Grinling Gibbons carves intricate limewood decorations. The rooms become theatres of royal power, staged within ancient fortifications. The castle now contains two incompatible architectures. Outside, 14th century Gothic military. Inside, 17th century Baroque luxury. The contradiction doesn't matter. Function has shifted entirely. Windsor is no longer built to withstand armies. It is built to impress ambassadors. 1820s. George IV looks at Windsor's skyline and sees insufficiency of a different kind. The castle functions as palace. But it doesn't look romantic enough. It lacks drama. It fails to match his idealized vision of medieval grandeur. He commissions architect Geoffrey Wyatville to reimagine the exterior. Wyatville's mandate: make Windsor look more like what people imagine a castle should be. This is architecture as theatre, Gothic revival avant la lettre. The buildings must feel ancient even where they are not. The signature move: raising the round tower. Wyatville adds 30 feet to its height, transforming it from squat keep into soaring landmark visible for miles. But he faces the same problem Henry II's engineers confronted 7 centuries earlier: weight on the motte. His solution is invisible and industrial. Inside the raised tower section, Wyatville installs a lightweight cast iron frame. The iron skeleton bears the structural load. The outer stone cladding provides medieval appearance but carries almost no weight. It is a stage set supported by hidden modern engineering. The same principle applies throughout the upper ward. Wyatville refaces mismatched buildings with uniform Gothic stonework. He adds crenellations, towers, and decorative battlements, none functional for defense, all designed for picturesque effect. He straightens irregular rooflines and imposes symmetry on organic medieval growth. What emerges is paradox. The Windsor Castle that tourists photograph, the iconic silhouette that defines castle in popular imagination, is largely a 19th century invention. The medieval fortress was irregular, practical, accretive. Wyatville makes it uniform, dramatic, intentional. Yet the deception is structural genius. By hiding modern materials inside historical facades, Wyatville preserves the appearance of continuity while enabling the castle to adapt. The iron frame makes the raised tower possible without motte collapse. The refacing unifies centuries of incompatible construction into coherent visual statement. Windsor survives 500 years from Tudor to Victorian by accepting that permanence requires constant change. Elizabeth adds leisure spaces. Charles implants Baroque luxury. George fabricates romantic drama. Each generation rebuilds, but each preserves enough of the past to maintain historical legitimacy. The castle standing in 1992 is not Henry's stone fortress or Edward's Gothic palace. It is all of them simultaneously, layered and modified and reimagined. And that architectural flexibility, that willingness to gut, reface, heighten and transform, is precisely what allows it to survive the next test: fire. November 20th, 1992. The spotlight ignites the curtain at 11:33 a.m. Security guards respond within minutes. The fire is already inside the walls. Medieval builders created vast roof voids between stone vaulting and outer roofing. These hidden spaces allowed thermal expansion and provided access for maintenance. In 1992, they become vertical chimneys. The fire races through interconnected voids faster than firefighters can track it. Flames spread invisibly, erupting through roofs hundreds of feet from the ignition point. St. George's Hall burns. The great hammer beam roof, a 19th century recreation of medieval style, collapses. 900 years of history consumed in 15 hours. 100 rooms destroyed. The nation watches stone towers silhouetted against orange sky. But the walls stand. Henry II's foundations hold. The stone shell survives what wood cannot. The question becomes, what do you rebuild? Exact replication of Victorian craftsmanship? Modern reinterpretation? The decision defines Windsor's next century. Architects and craftsmen choose both. St. George's Hall receives a new roof, medieval in technique, contemporary in design. The structure uses green oak, unseasoned English timber cut specifically for this project. This is the largest green oak construction in Britain since the Middle Ages. The wood is alive, still containing moisture, still capable of movement as it seasons in place over decades. Master carpenters shape the beams using traditional mortise and tenon joints. No steel plates, no bolts. Each connection is wood into wood, locked with oak pegs. The joints are cut by hand and machine to tolerances the 14th century would recognize. A modern carpenter and medieval craftsman could collaborate without translation. The hammer beam trusses span 70 feet. Each beam weighs tons. Lifting them requires cranes, but the joinery requires human judgment, testing fit, adjusting angles, driving pegs. The roof becomes hybrid, ancient method, modern precision, contemporary design that honors but does not copy the past. Simultaneously, engineers install what medieval builders never had: compartmentalized fire barriers, sprinkler systems, heat sensors. The new construction hides modern protection inside traditional appearance. Stone walls now contain fire breaks. Roof voids include suppression systems. The restoration doesn't just rebuild, it learns. 5 years, £70 million. The state apartments reopen in 1997. Visitors see Gothic splendor. Behind the stone, invisible systems wait to prevent the next fire from becoming catastrophe. Windsor's survival was never about resisting change. Every century brought destruction, rot, siege, fire, obsolescence. Every century brought reinvention. The 1992 fire simply added the latest chapter to a story written in earth, stone, iron, and now oak, grown in English forests and joined by craftsmen reviving nearly lost techniques. The castle standing today contains William's motte, Henry's walls, Edward's vision, George's theatrical skyline, and fire-tested modern engineering. It survives not despite transformation, but because of it. 900 years, forced labor, plague, civil war, and catastrophic fire. Windsor endures because each generation refused preservation and chose evolution. The wooden fort became stone fortress, became Gothic palace, became Victorian fantasy, became modern phoenix. Every disaster proved the same truth. The structures that survive aren't the ones built perfectly once, but the ones rebuilt fearlessly forever.